Access Hampton and Harris with Bobbi Roquemore, where the world of sports meets the mic and the hammer of the law.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of Hampton and Harris. I'm Rickey Hampton with my great friend John Harris coming to you on a Thursday night. Happy Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. Get it on. Start a great weekend. JD, man, this will be a great weekend of basketball. The NBA playoffs are finally here. You know, JD, I love March Madness, the Final Four.
Yeah.
But when you watch NCAA basketball, you see the vast difference in talent. And the NCAA kids are great and all that. But the shot making and creativity that you see on the professional level is extraordinary. And, and that's why they get paid like they do.
Oh, it's a different level. I mean, once you throw the emotion out with college game, and you see that guys at the NBA level just do things that most college players cannot do, and the ones that can stand out like a sore thumb when you see them. They're able to take it to the next level.
Yeah, and speaking of standing out like a sore thumb, man, hey, shout out to the UCLA Bruins, Lady Bruins, who captured the NCAA championship. And JD, now I know why. I mean, they had 5 first-round draft picks on that team. I think they made history, the first team to have 5. WNBA history, the first team to have 5 players selected in the first round. Lauren Betts went to the Washington Mystics at 4. Gabriella Jaquez went to Chicago at 5, followed by her teammate Kiki Rice, who went to Toronto at 6. So UCLA had picks 4, 5, and 6. Angela Douglack, and forgive me if I mispronounced her name, went to the Washington Mystics at 9. And we got one more UCLA player that went, Gianna Nipkins. Went to the Connecticut Sun at 15. So, but Tendex had all those guys highly rated.
When I did the Final Four tally, they were the only team. They had 4 of the top players in the top 10 of the Final Four teams, which kind of surprised me. The other thing about UCLA, they stayed together, right? They were together for a while. They didn't just all come out. I know South Carolina gets a lot of transfers. They had a team that stayed together for a while, and once they got past the Texas game, they just started rolling. And South Carolina, I just think they left their best game after on the court with UConn. Yeah, and they were not the same team at all. And
that was such an emotional win. And I see our viewers checking in. Again, welcome to Hampton and Harris with Bobbi Roquemore. Bobbi will be checking in shortly. John and I are both longtime sports writers and authors. John is the author of Tomlin, the Soul of a Football Coach, a great book, and a couple other books. We talked about one last week. Edgerrin James. What's the title of is it The Edge?
The Edge, yeah. From Gold Teeth to Gold Jacket. Edgerrin James' autobiography, as told to me, John Harris, and I recommend that to any football fan, any fan that appreciates this guy's story. It's still relevant today. Now he's in the business. side now. In fact, we had a conversation recently. Once he's looking to do another book, and hopefully we can collaborate on it. He wants to really get into he owns a lot of businesses now, even way more than I knew. He has a chains of pizza restaurants. He has some other gentlemen's clubs. He's growing his portfolio as we speak, and I find it fascinating. You don't really hear anything about him. He's always in the background. You can see him. That's the guy that played at the U, but he keeps it quiet and he likes it that way. But it's a fascinating story. A lot of that's in the book. So yeah, thanks for the plug, Rick. Appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely, bro. Hey, is he back in Miami, or is he in India? He's from both places.
His main home is Orlando, but yeah, he still gets to Miami quite a bit. His mother, I think their home is still there, I think, in Immokalee, which is like 30, 45 minutes outside of Miami, and they've kept that going. So yeah, he's living a life. He said he has 6 kids. I asked him how they're doing. He said, "Hey man, they're doing. They're kids. They're growing up. They're making decisions." I think he's a granddad now.
Wow.
He's watching his kids grow up now. At one time he could kind of tell them what to do, where to go. Now he's learning, as a lot of parents do, that transition as your children get older. You watch them, you love them up, and you let them know that you're always there for them. And he's kind of going through some of that right now. I found that interesting, but he very keeps his head on his shoulders about a lot of things, and just has a lot of goals in mind now. Instead of scoring touchdowns, he's watching his profit margin continue to rise.
Yeah.
On the business side,
Hey, we all trying to do that these days.
Yeah, man.
But I want to go back. You talked about UCLA staying together. And JD, we usually prep before the show, and I just happen to be reading this story for the 25-26 cycles and putting together all college athletes, 31,000 student athletes in all the sports transferred for 25-26. Men's college basketball, there are 2,000 players entered the portal on April 7th. That's half of the Division I players, JD. College football, 10,500 players entered the portal. That's D1, D2, D3.
Yeah.
But JD, 6,671 of those players have not found a new home.
And a lot of them won't, unfortunately.
And a lot of them won't. And we've discussed it before. That's one of the dangers of the portal. I think the last time I read it was about 45% of the kids who enter the portal do not find homes. And they can't go back to the other team because the coach like, man, I have to get somebody to fill your spot.
Yeah, it's bad advice. That's the one thing now. Now, in the fact now they are able to, get money now publicly where they couldn't before. They did it privately. But now I hear it's interesting when you hear a player transfer. Not only do you hear the player transfer, a lot of times the announcement is made by, I've seen it a few times now. I was like, what? The announcement is made by like an agency.
Yeah,
that represents them. I was like, wait a minute now. The announcement is made by the public. It's made by the agency, which makes you really think, wait a minute. See, now we're just. So what that's telling me is that these people are intervening. So it might not even be the kid, right? It's, hey man, we can get you a better deal over here. We can get you 1.75 mil over here. They only giving you 1.2. So some of these decisions that these kids are making are probably not even their own decisions. It's now people that, and remember, these agents do not have to be certified as they do in the NBA and NFL. These guys, man, we could get together, Rick, and represent. You don't have to be a certified agent now to represent these kids that are in college. So I think a lot of bad decisions are being made or are going to be made based off of that, getting advice, Maybe not even family members, right? But other people that have a financial incentive.
Right.
So yeah, it's a Pandora's box. It's good, but some of it's not
it
good.
is good. You're right. Exactly. I'm with you all the way on that. So maybe at some point that will settle down a bit, man. And one final thing on that, as I was reading, I started digging a little deep, and I ran across in Minnesota, the state of Minnesota. There's this wave of high school players transferring now. It's an epidemic of high school players transfer. Now I couldn't read all the story because it shut me down, and I didn't want to subscribe to the Star Tribune for one story.
They're not getting me on that.
Ray Richardson was still up there or something. I might have subscribed.
They're not getting me on that racket, man.
Yeah.
No.
Y'all can have that. But anyway, I found that interesting. But congratulations to UCLA. And shout out to Ozzie Fudd, who went #1, the great UConn guard, to the Dallas Wings. And the Minnesota Lynx selected Olivia Miles at guard. Seattle Storm took our farm out of Spain. And then we talked about, and everybody else went to UCLA, JD.
Yeah, it's she did a great job of not only collecting that talent but keeping it together. Until this past year, where the financial incentive wasn't that great. Now it might be harder to keep these rosters intact now because now they can actually go out. You mentioned Olivia Miles. A lot of people thought she was going to go pro last year, and she surprised people, and she transferred from Notre Dame and went to TCU. But that was basically because she got a bag at TCU. Now she's going to actually get a bag in the WNBA. So
worked out well for her, man.
Yeah, so it worked out very, very well for her.
Yeah. So, but let's get to the NBA playoff. JD, I think this is going to be one of the most interesting playoff seasons we've had in a while.
I agree.
A lot of really interesting matchups to look at. But before we get there, we got to get the field set. We still got a couple of games coming up tomorrow.
Yeah.
We got Charlotte going down to Orlando to play the Orlando Magic for the A spot in the East, and Golden State, who rallied to beat the Clippers the other night, will travel to Phoenix to play the Suns for the A spot, and they get the honor of playing the winner of that game gets the honor of playing the OKC Thunder. I mean, do you want to win that game?
No, not really.
Win that game, but
I'm Golden State. I'm shutting it down. Hey, man, you see that comeback win we had yesterday? That was unbelievable. That's how I want to remember the season. I don't want to get swept after that. You know what I mean? That was a great finish to build on for next year. I would do that, to be honest.
Yeah, can we just say, okay, that was cool. Can we just go home now? We'll just end on a high note.
Yeah.
Because I Steph Curry showed his greatness.
Oh yeah, he was fabulous. He was fabulous.
His winning, he plays winning basketball. He makes winning plays out there. But that's going to be a tough matchup for them. The winner of the Magic and Hornets will see the Detroit Pistons, who just got Cade Cunningham back. And speaking of Cade Cunningham, he and Luka Doncic received waivers from the NBA to become eligible for postseason awards.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the 65 game thing is good, but you got to look at it and put it in perspective. These guys didn't, load manage. They were out because of injuries.
Yeah, I heard.
So I don't have any problem with them being able to be, considered for those awards. The games they missed were legitimate misses, as opposed to some cases where people are just sitting out because they don't want to play.
Yeah, and I'm with you, man. And the eye test. And welcome to our great friend Bobbi Roquemore. Bobby.
Hey, I thought y'all forgot about me. I'm like, wait.
I'm sorry. Welcome to the.
That's an imposter. She doesn't have her braids in or extensions in. Maybe that's an imposter.
No.
But I gotta switch it up every now and then.
Looking good.
Thank you. And before y'all move on, well, first of all, thank you always for having me. Go ahead. You were finishing a point about Luca and
Kate. Did you have a problem with them getting the waiver?
Oh no, I think we recommended it. Remember, I said there's got to be a way. I think maybe if not last week, then the week before that. I said there has to be a way to uplift the people who have made an honest effort at trying to actually play the whole season, but just had bad luck timing with an injury. And thankfully, the NBA and the NBA PA apparently got together and found that, like I said, there has to be a way. I mean, we could tell who's doing load management. Hey, even the Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell does that at times, and we could tell who just had bad luck with timing. And so thankfully they came up with a solution for that.
I think reporters ought to be able to have an eye test and you can tell who's doing what and who's not doing what out there without having it have to be regulated as some kind of amount of games. So good for Cunningham and Dante, who both had really outstanding seasons.
But this is the world we're in now. We have to come up with rules for tanking. We have to come up with rules for low management. This is just the world we're in now because the stakes. I'm not saying that the stakes weren't as high when Jordan was only making $3 million because so that the family could pay other teammates and things like that because he had so much money from endorsements. I mean, that's still a lot of money. My point is that the stakes are so high. I get it. That is your walking investment. Just like I always say, my brain is my moneymaker. Their body is their moneymaker, and they have to take care of it, accordingly. But at the same time,
absolutely.
They, you have these cities where Western Conference teams only come once a year to the Eastern teams. And so that's where I think, that should be penalized more than somebody who say, the Knicks come 2-3 times a year, to Cleveland and, the division team and in-conference teams come all the time. It's that out of intra-conference game that, people are waiting to see Steph. People are waiting to see LeBron, and then they don't show.
Right. No, I totally get that. Well, we were just getting into the playoffs, Bobby. Charlotte and Orlando go at it tomorrow, 7:30. The winner plays Detroit. Golden State and Phoenix play at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the winner gets to play OKC.
Yeah.
So good luck to that game.
But it's kind of like the first four in the NCAA tournament. I think it's worth it. I think it adds a layer. I mean, from the very first playing game when Patrick Beverly was crying, I wanted to cry last night. The TV was watching me again, and then you hear Mike Breen or whoever, Ian Eagle, whoever was on there. So I said, let me turn around, and see what's going on. And that was just such a thrilling finish. I mean, these playing games have been really, really good. And so I think, just like the first four games, that's the equivalent that I can think of. We don't say, let's just throw out the first four because they had to go play Duke,
I enjoyed all four of those playoff games have been really good. No doubt about that. Golden State last night with that great comeback. LaMelo Ball, who had a terrible game, just keep punching away, hits the game winner. you keep firing away. He hits the game winner. So we'll see what happens there Friday. But Saturday's games, we got Toronto and Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
We got 4 games on tap Saturday. Toronto and Cleveland at 1:00. Minnesota and Denver at 3:00. These are Amazon games.
Yeah.
And New York, 6:00 at Amazon. And the Lakers and Houston at 8:30 on ABC.
Right. I want to demonstrate what it's like for me to try to find an NBA game. Hold on.
All right.
I have 2 remotes. I have to keep both remotes because when I go to League Pass, it may tell me that, actually that game is on Prime Video, which means we stick with the Roku TV, or it's on ABC. And so that means I have to go to the cable remote because I'm the core keeper. I'm one of the few because I just don't watch TV enough, and it's connected to my internet. Like it's all in one bill. And so anyway, this is what NBA watching and TV sports watching has become.
I will have mine out. Those are fun games, and let's throw these 10 decks up. Well, let's throw the 10 decks up here. Take a look at what what 10 decks is saying regarding the playoffs.
And while we wait on that, just talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers, Darius Garland, that trade ended up working out for both sides. I think Darius, is showing himself as a future leader of the Clippers, even though they lost, yesterday, in that way. But he's able to stay healthy, and he could be a really good player. And Cleveland's trying to make that push, to the NBA Finals. So let's see what the numbers say, if that's even possible.
I'm going to be interested to see what they do with Kawhi Leonard this offseason. Because, he is a terrific player, but the thing with Kawhi is availability. Yeah. If you can promise me he's going to be on the court.
But this the most I've seen him play in a while.
Yeah, he did, and just had some terrific moments this year. But getting to the playoff preview, Boston, a heavy favorite over Philly. No Embiid, right?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, with the appendectomy, I don't think he's gonna make it back.
Yeah, this time it's a legitimate injury.
If he does, then he's getting
no load management here. And again, that's time and that's life. But yeah, that you can't help that. Yeah.
And if he tries to play the moment he's in there, he's gonna get a bone to the side. How's that appendix doing, man? Yeah. So Boston, the interesting one here for me is New York and Atlanta. New York is a 4-point rates 4-point higher than Atlanta in 10 days. And JD, we got a nice crowd in here tonight. Explain to them, and we're new to Sports Floor. Explain the 10-dex rating system for those of you who have been following us the past few weeks. I know you're getting familiar with it, but we're getting new people every week.
Yeah, 10-dex is a point per minute rating system originated by Dave Herron 4 decades ago. He's a mathematician at the University of Delaware. We became really good friends through the years. He worked out of Fort Lauderdale for a long time. He's in the Orlando area now. I met him when I was in St. Petersburg. I reviewed one of his books, his 10-dex books, early, and we became good friends. He taught me the system, which I started to use when I was covering the NBA, Orlando Magic, Detroit Pistons, and just found it to be incredibly accurate. And now I've done it more out of curiosity through the years, just because I'm a basketball fan. And some years I didn't do it at all. And last few years I've been doing it more. I can do college, I can do men's basketball, I can do women's basketball, I can do the NBA, I can do WNBA. and we'll probably do some WNBA this year as well. And what it does is it's point per minute. So it's strictly numbers. It's strictly, doesn't matter what I think. It's just pure raw numbers factored by each team has a game pace. Each team plays at a different tempo. So I can't use Boston stats for Cleveland stats because they have different game pace. So some people have tried to imitate it. They've put together different systems. And the problem is if you come up with a bad rating, rate somebody too high, somebody too low. So the ratings that you see here on the board are just each team's over the 82 game schedule. This is each team's rating. 100 is the average rating for a team. And this year in the East, Detroit, very consistent the whole year. I think they stayed there, they didn't change much. And I don't know why I didn't put it in there, but Detroit is, I'm telling you, when you said, Rick, that the playoffs, even Detroit is not, their rating is not too far off of Oklahoma City's now. Oklahoma City still has the best overall record and the team I love, but I'm just being true to Tendex. It's very balanced. Detroit, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, they're all right there. And I think even in the future, you mentioned Atlanta. Atlanta is a surprise team. Very talented young players. In fact, one of their players, Jalen Johnson, is fourth on the MVP list on Tendex. I just saw him dunking in a couple highlights. He's having a fabulous year. Atlanta's going to be a team to watch, if not this year, next year, along with Charlotte. Because Charlotte has been one of the best NBA teams since the All-Star break.
I agree with you with Jalen Johnson. I've had a chance to watch him. I didn't even know who he was at the beginning of the season, guys.
I didn't either.
He just, he's long, athletic, smooth player. They are a up and coming team. You mentioned the Pistons. Me being a Detroiter here, I'm automatically skeptical. I'm automatically waiting for something to go bad.
No.
But I know, JD. They are a good team, but I totally get why people overlook them because they don't play pretty bad. They play Detroit basketball, and it ain't pretty. It's physical and hard nosed. So I'll be cheering for them, but as I've been mentioning, they have skipped a step. So we'll see what happens.
Cade Cunningham coming back, it gives him a huge boost. That's the guy that can put the ball in his hands late, and he can make it happen. And you have to have that in the playoffs. The key is in the playoffs, as you know, teams are going to devise ways to try to get the ball out of his hands. Who's going to be that second, third person? I think it's going to be Duran, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he
has a very good Tendex rating. He might end up being the guy that's going to have to step up offensively in the playoffs.
Yeah, and this reminds me of the Cavaliers last year. That awesome record. It's like, how did this happen? And then, of course, Indiana, ran into a buzzsaw in Indiana, but who didn't run into Indiana? Last year, they took Oklahoma City to Game 7 and were a Achilles heel injury from Tyree away from winning that game. So, that's why I don't feel so bad about losing, that game last year. But they remind me of the Cavaliers. And so, as far as this good record, people aren't really respecting them. Like you say, even the hometown team is kind of skeptical. But I think, that they've earned their way to the top seed. And let's see if they can hold it. And it'll be interesting to see, if they can hold it and how. Real quick with Atlanta, that was interesting. So the Cavs in Atlanta had 2 games, and Atlanta was determined. Without getting Vegas involved, I'm not going to say they tanked it on purpose, but they wanted that 6th seed. They pretty much didn't play that much, and that was a surprise. You would think you want the higher seed, in case things happen and you may get on. Who knows? But apparently they liked that matchup, and I didn't realize CJ McCollum was a Hawk. I'm like,
that's right.
Man, he's gonna be 50 years old and be able to shoot that. man.
But so long it was Trey Young, and whoever else is on the team. I had no idea, but so that's good. So with him alone, they have gained credibility in my eyes that I didn't, necessarily know at the beginning of the season.
Hey, everybody out there, you're watching Hampton and Harris with attorney Bobbi Roquemore. Send us your question and comments. Any team you like, any team you think is overrated going into the NBA playoffs. I see this is surprising to me. Toronto, you have it as a toss-up, but they're actually a slight favorite over Cleveland.
It's so close. I just put it like
right,
that.
Right, yeah.
That's less than a point.
Not even half.
Yeah.
And that's 4 or 5. I mean, that's what 4 or 5 matchups are. Yeah. I mean, Denver, Minnesota, I think I read, that's becoming the game. Like I watched that game, on purpose.
Yeah.
Whenever they play each other, going back to that conference finals a couple of years ago. I mean, even in the regular season, they really go after each other, and that's always a treat. And, here we are in the first round with them again. And Houston redeemed themselves at the end of the season. It was looking rough there for a minute. But, I think, again, coaching matters. And I think just settling down, and figuring out, okay, we don't have VanVleet. We got to get through this, and they figure it out.
Yeah. And you said something that coaching really does matter in the playoffs, because now this is when teams can really lock in on you. They don't have a game the next night.
Yep.
In Minnesota or whatever, they're playing you for the next 10, 12, 14 days. So they can really lock in on you. Man, I do want to just go back to Philly and Boston, because that's one of the classic NBA matchups. That's the rivalry I grew up on, watching Philly and Boston, Dr. J, Larry Bird, and Embiid. They won't have Embiid, so I hate that, because I love watching those two teams get after each other. Hey, I'm looking over here. Denver and Minnesota is a little closer than I thought it would be, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's Denver started out great, then Jokic got hurt, and they went down, and now they're back. I'll tell you, when I did the Tendex ratings, I'll tell you that the rating that surprised me the most was Jamal Murray, who's number 6 on the Tendex MVP list, which I just had no idea. And I think he's always been underrated. He was fabulous the year they won the championship. And now that Jokic is back, they're dangerous. Minnesota got plenty of talent. They're not I expected them to be better this year, to be honest with you. I thought after the year they had last year that they were ready to make that climb, and they really haven't done it. I know Edwards has been hurt a little bit, but I'm a little disappointed in how they played. They can redeem themselves in the playoffs. They have the talent. They have the talent to get out of the West. I mean, if seriously, I mean, they can do it. Denver can do it. San Antonio obviously can do it. Houston. I was impressed with Portland the other night. They could give San Antonio a little bit of a battle. They've got some good young talent that really up in the Northwest you don't really see. I think San Antonio is going to win that. That could be a tougher series than people think.
Right. Here's what's interesting. The Lakers have the same rating as a play-in team, Golden State.
Yeah. Yeah, the rating hasn't changed very much the whole year. When we did this early in the year, the rating was around there. It really hasn't changed a whole lot. They're just, they have some very talented big name players. That's what they have. But that's not the entire roster. And that's what Tendex looks at. Tendex, if they win, Tendex would consider that a big upset, because Houston's several points higher than them. Houston has a lot of talent. Amen Thompson, who is number 8 on the Tendex list. So I'm just talking about production. Kevin Durant is number 5. So for production wise, they've got the players, they've got the talent, and are they going to play up to that level? That's what they brought the coaching for, Doka, right? We'll see how good he is.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what Bobby was talking about a minute ago. Coaching
And
matters.
shout out to Tiago Splitter. I mean, I remember him as kind of a journeyman coach, journeyman player or whatever. Yeah. And so when Portland started to win, a little bit, I said, gosh, who took over for Chauncey Phillips? I didn't realize it was him. And, it is too bad that, Chauncey wasn't able to take this team, after the first couple of years of really developing them. But clearly, shout out to him and that whole team for everything they've been through, and yet here they are, competing in the playoffs and having won a high pressure game, probably the first high pressure game for a lot of them, ever.
This is something I took from this so far. Oklahoma City, it's interesting. Who at the beginning of the year we had them substantially had the highest rating. What I see now is that the rest of the league they're already catching up to them. It's not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. They still have the best record. What I'm saying, going into the future next year, they just found out last night. They now have the Clippers lottery pick too. I think they need another really great player to be able to compete with the San Antonios who have these young. I mean, Oklahoma City's got a great team. Don't get me wrong, but I think they're going to need another impact player because these teams with these young players are really starting to climb quickly. And Oklahoma City, they're good, but they do have some holes that are going to have to be patched. This could be a draft where they maybe get our guy from Michigan who could drop because he's a senior. Rick?
Lindenberg.
Yeah, get a player like that at the 10th or 11th pick if that's what they have. They need another talented player like that. They have a lot of really good role players, but they're going to need another outstanding player, I think. And this draft could be where they could get that.
Hey, they oh gosh, I forgot what I was going to say about them. Until I think of that, I'll go over here to no, I remember now. This old man's brain, but OKC's number had to be hurt because they had several injuries they dealt with.
Oh yeah,
throughout the years, so. We're just really beginning to see them at full strength.
Mm-hmm. But they back up against San Antonio.
That's a bad thing for me. San Antonio has that number.
That's a tough matchup for them. That's what I'm saying. They're going to need – San Antonio has the players to guard SGA. They caused him some problems this year. They have length and athleticism, to guard him, and they have no answer for Wemby. So that's not necessarily a good matchup for them. That's why I'm saying I think in the future they're going to need another guy. Hey, why not trade for a guy up in Milwaukee with all the capital they have, Giannis? They need another really good, great player that can fit into this system. That's just me. And that's how Tendex helps me. I can gauge a team's progress, not just by the record, by their rating. You can gauge through the year. Do they get better? Do they get worse? Do they stay the same? Detroit's been good all year at that high level. They got a little bit higher, but they've been good all year. OKC's been good all year, but at the beginning they were really good. Then they've kind of leveled off. So, and San Antonio has kind of gone up a little bit as the younger players have developed. So I'm able to really get a good feel for where these teams are in the playoffs. And the Lakers are pretty much where they've been all year.
You know what? You just said something about Giannis going to OKC because they definitely have the capital.
Yeah.
If they want to go get him, they could go get him.
Yeah. I mean, a player like that, he's not a selfish guy, right? He could fit in, and he's a great talent, right? So you got him, you got SGA or whatever. They may not want to break that up. I just feel like looking ahead in the future, and I know that's how their GM looks at stuff, they're going to have to get more talented, as crazy as that sounds, because they're going to go up against a monster with San Antonio in the future. I mean, Wemby's just going to keep getting better and better. He's unstoppable now almost.
Yeah, he is. a terrific young player. Hey, one more thing about the Knicks. I kind of like Atlanta's chance. You mentioned it earlier, because if you can make Brunson a volume scorer,
Yeah.
go get his 30. Let's make him take 23 shots to get 30 and keep him off the foul line, which is almost impossible in the playoffs. You're going to have a chance. Atlanta's going to have a chance there.
They're in a great spot. They're under the radar. Nobody's giving them a chance, right? It's New York, the Knicks. So they can just go in there and play. There's no pressure on Atlanta at all.
And I was going to say, how are these teams going to handle that spotlight now, too?
Yeah.
Nobody plays in a bigger spotlight than the Knicks. So, hey, we got to talk about Doc Rivers stepping down. What's his legacy, guys?
Boston. I mean, that was a great, seeing him do that. But after that, it's just kind of been average. It's kind of like almost like Belichick. You had these great players, and then once you see them by themselves, they're kind of average. Without the big three, Paul Pierce and all those players that they had, KG, Boston just had those runs. And then after that, he's had some mini runs like with Philly and stuff, but nothing really impressive. And I'm just still just baffled by how it all went down with Adrian Griffith, whatever happened last year or 2 years ago now, however long it was, where they were 30-14 or whatever the record was. And they just thought that was going to be the answer. I mean, when the Cavaliers did that with David Blatt and Ty Lue, he was already there. He was already on the team, number one assistant. It was almost like a foregone conclusion. But, to bring somebody in house like that, I just don't think it worked. But congratulations on him making the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And that's all we can do. Go Marquette, and we'll take it from there.
I think the Clippers years are the ones that people are really looking at. They blew a lot of series, super talent. I watched that. I forgot what it was on. It's called Clipped. It's about the time when, they had the issue with the owner and having to sell the team. That team was affected by that. They were really good. And a couple of those years, if they had gotten by OKC, of course, our guy Chris Paul got hurt in the one series. I think it was Golden State. They had him down and they blew it. If he could have got to the finals with one of those teams, I think, even if he hadn't won it, I think that would have changed the narrative quite a bit. But never, ever be able to get past that. Then people start, oh, yeah, he won at Boston, but that's almost 20 years ago. Now that's how people are looking at that. And they're taking it away. He was a very good player as a player. Did a really good job in Orlando as a coach. Took them to a couple playoff berths, a young team that people weren't really expecting. So the way they do Hall of Fames now, there's a lot of people in the Hall of Fame I don't think should be in there. So, hey, congrats, Doc.
Yeah, the NBA, basketball has always been more fluid, per se. Baseball has always been the most exclusive. Yeah. And then you got football.
Because Naismith all-encompassing.
Exactly. You got referees in there. You got everybody in there.
Well, not only that, your college accomplishments and professional are taken into consideration. Because I think there is a college basketball Hall of Fame also.
I think that those should be separate. I mean, I think there should be the college Hall of Fame, and I think you should have the pro. I don't think they should be
like the NFL does.
Yeah, I don't think you should throw everything together, but that's the way they do it.
Yeah. So let's see where we are here. Well, I see you guys out there. Send us your questions and comments. You're watching Hampton and Harris with Bobbi Roquemore. I want to get to this. Bob, this is what I wanted to get to.
Okay.
The whole situation with Diana Russini, who resigned from the Athletics, sports writer, longtime NFL writer. she was seen holding Mike Vrabel's hand at a resort. I don't know, maybe
interlocking fingers. Don't forget
Yeah.
that.
This whole wait a minute, they were interlocking fingers. Man, that's crap.
Yeah, I mean, that was weird and goofy, So here, a lot of people know that I'm currently attorney, but I also was a longtime sports writer, first in Milwaukee under the great editor Gary Howard. I was also at the Dallas Morning News. And then that's kind of when I became a lawyer. And I was, my main focus was college basketball, college sports. That was my main thing. And, high school, college recruiting. So I really didn't do a lot of pro sports other than filling in for other people. So obviously I wouldn't have had those issues because as a grown woman, I wasn't trying to talk to college kids. I just loved the college game. But as a sports writer, I was always warned, to not mingle and interact with athletes in that way. And, my editor was very, because, you go out to the clubs and you meet people and, you don't realize, you know what I'm saying? Like you just meet people and it is what it is. But, it was just a line that I was told not to cross. But at the same time, I remember covering SMU and I could tell that the two male coaches were hanging out. And I was like, gosh, I wouldn't be able to do that. And I have a sports writer friend who told me, yeah, we would go to the strip club together, with the coaches. I can't do that. So there are bonding activities that some men can do that I necessarily can't do as a woman, and at the same time, the opposite. There are things a man and a woman sitting in the pool, lounging in Arizona, which is kind of warm, by the way. That didn't raise any eyebrows to me at all because of the strip club incident that my friend told me about, sports writer friend. I see that as the same thing. Two guys sitting in the pool next to each other sipping drinks doesn't necessarily look too hot. But a man and woman, it's like whatever. They could have been and other people not being around. We all know what it's like to, when you get in the scoop from somebody, you don't want other people around. This is what I've gathered, that everybody was in that area for the NFL meetings last week. Diana and her two friends stayed behind to go on a hiking trip. Somehow, which tells me they talk to each other a lot, Vrabel and his friends drove up there to hang out with the two gal pals and Diana. That part doesn't, so that's what I see it as. Where I think things went left is the investigation into other stuff. That's just me talking, but reading that letter she wrote, this investigation is going into places that I didn't. So it's not that incident that I think is the issue. I think there may be other things that have come out.
Yeah. I think the too is that she said she was with friends, right? So everybody's waiting for a friend to step up, right? To make
two
a
of them did.
Show me some pictures. Where are the pictures? Where are your girls at? Where no one came out publicly and said, "Hey, we were hanging out."
Two of them did.
That to me, that was like,
I mean, two of them. I read that two of them did, and at the same time, you got to remember
it was.
Yeah. So where your friends at?
Right.
But they did come out. I mean, but at the same time, I don't know how I would feel like, because we're not shy, But I have friends who. They would back me up, but are they going to go on TV? It's like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And, who knows if they were sneaking, what if I was sneaking away from my job or something like, what I'm saying? And now I got to get out here and go in public. And I was telling my job I was doing this, but I was actually in Arizona on a hiking trip. Oh, wait a minute. So that's why I'm like, but they apparently two, and, and I will send it, when I get a chance, but two did come out and say, and that's how that whole part.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, just to, they said it's not like they gave interviews, but apparently they were contacted and they did, back up that part and another two, so it's 6 total, right? So that means you got Diana and Mike, 2 friends came out, 2 didn't. So, as a jury, is a 50-50, situation. But as far as a woman, yes. So, I bring that up to say, as a woman, we have to be more conscious of how we are seen, with athletes because sadly the stereotypes do exist, and that this didn't help at all. At the same time, people need to get get over it. Like, just like I said, two people sitting at a swimming pool, that didn't raise any alarm to me. The handstand, that was just a goofy, and that looked weird. But people get with their sources and they drink. Okay, and that's what they were doing.
Right. But as sports writers, I think there's a level of responsibility you have to keep those relationships professional at all times. You can definitely be caught because you're on the road. You're covering a team. It's like you're on the team. Only thing, you don't get put in games, and you're not at all the meetings. So there are going to be some times that you're together in a bar or at a restaurant and sit down. But still, I think there's a level of decorum that you got to have.
Right. And men too.
Because I was covering the league when the whole thing about women in the locker room was going down. Y'all remember that? This was, giving my age up now, but this was the early 90s. What was a woman in the locker room? I'm like, man.
Yeah, I mean, I have a shorter sports writer friend, and apparently one very tall college athlete was very intentional and trying to make her uncomfortable. And so she kind of had to, have her notebook, kind of to block things.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not just the women, it's pressure.
They started issuing robes. Remember, I know they covered the NBA. Some teams had the players, I don't know if everybody in the league, they made them, you had to wear a robe now when you came out.
Yeah.
Afterwards, so they were trying to address that situation in many ways. But
going back to some guys that were just really being assholes about it.
Yeah, going back to the other point, hanging out. See, to me, when I cover teams, NFL and NBA teams, I never wanted to hang out at the strip club with a player. And one of the reasons why is that brothers trying to hang. You got to understand the psychology of these athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Who they see as a reporter and who they see as some guy that's trying to hang out at the strip club with them. So when I got a story, am I going to give it to the guy I hang out at the strip club with, or am I going to give it to this guy over here who I view as this reporter? And I think that's a mistake some guys make, try to do stuff that they do. You can't. You're not that. You're a reporter, and you want to keep that respect level there. So they view you as a reporter and not some dude that when I'm looking for a serious reporter, I'm going to go over there. I'm not going to go to you because you're the guy I'm in the strip club with. And I think some guys might have missed that point through the years. It's a lot of psychology involved when you're dealing with these multi-million-dollar athletes and how they look at. Don't take my word for it. Just look at who gets a lot of scoops. They're not people, for the most part, that are hanging out in the clubs with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I just gave that anecdote, to say as a woman, things that I couldn't do.
No, I was talking about more guys. I
was
talking about more male reporters than female reporters.
Yeah, you guys,
male reporters.
There's no doubt when the height of my time covering the league, the ladies had it a lot tougher because you just had a lot of things. Some of the guys didn't think, Bobby, you can't do this job. They just Neanderthal thinking in that regard. But one thing JD said that I totally agree with, when we were coming through as African-American reporters, we always had to be on our toes. Because some of our peers didn't even, how is this guy doing this job? So we always had to dress nicer. I mean, these guys come to the games in flip-flops and walk right through the door. I got on a nice sweater, a suit and tie. Can I see your press pass? Still just went through.
But society has changed too. So people want to be more, expressive, maybe, and so they, can I feel like I can talk to this person and my business not be in the street? Maybe that was a test. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, or just even covering the colleges, you still had to go out with boosters and, things like that. You know what I'm saying? be at certain events and things like that, to develop your sources.
And
I
we're
thought
going to have to get out of here.
With her Rossini, I think, and you saw a lot of reports that people were starting to link them together. Not this is not a moral issue here.
Right.
It was the ethical issue. They're saying, okay, how come she's writing a bunch of stories about AJ Brown? He's a problem, and it could, in fact, that be the fact that she's getting that stuff from Vrabel, who's trying to get AJ Brown to trade. So let's knock his value down. That's just speculation, but it's what people do.
Yeah.
So she's writing more about AJ Brown than anybody, right? Who's going to benefit from AJ Brown? Who they're saying the Eagles saying they might trade?
Yeah,
maybe New England. Who's the New England coach? So that's what people are saying. They're starting to speculate. Okay, she voted him for Coach of the Year. They went to the Super Bowl. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's what I'm saying. When you put yourself in that position, people now are going to start looking at stuff. They went back into the archive. They were showing videos of her I never saw before.
Yeah,
they're talking about her husband. I never saw that stuff before. Oh, look what she said about her husband 3 years ago.
And now that's where I think the issue is. It's not this incident. That's the tip of the iceberg, but other stuff.
Yep.
And at that point, maybe it's time for her to have a reset, a professional reset. Because just like I use my personality, she's a nice looking woman. She can use that. What I'm saying, we all use what we got. Some people are very intellectual and can use that. So we use what we have, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as it's done within bounds of reason. And I think, like I said, is she probably things were coming out that she didn't feel comfortable about, even if it wasn't with this particular incident. And that is, like I said, maybe it's time for her to take a professional reset. I think as women in the field, it's a cautionary tale, but at the same time, it's up to men to not make that stereotype. He's inside, she's an insider, or so, making little jokes like that. That's frat boyish. Grow up.
Yeah.
Right.
Women are professionals. Like I said, we pound the pavement, get our sources, do what we have to do, be there on deadline, whatever we have to do.
More props to the ladies that do that job the right way. Hey, we got to get out of here. We're here every Thursday, as you can see on the scroll here. Subscribe to us. Hampton and Harris with Bobbi Roquemore. We'll have a lot of NBA stuff to talk about. We got the NFL draft coming up next week. Maybe we'll do some stuff on the NFL draft coming up. But until then, for Bobby and John, I'm Rickey Hampton. Peace, everybody. See you next time.
Peace out.
Chai.